And good morning, this is Natalie from Discover Real Estate. I'm in my hammock today. It's Sunday morning, it's not too noisy. I've been meaning to do this video on the purchasing process of buying property in Nicaragua, and I kept putting it off thinking, oh, I'm too tired, it's late, it's too noisy in town, whatever. But finally I've got a Sunday morning. Basically no makeup today. Sunday's my day off, so just a little bit of mascara and a little bit of lip gloss, that's it. But here we go, how to buy property in Nicaragua. First step, find a reputable real estate agent, someone who's got ethics, someone who's not just chasing the dollar, not just showing you properties that have the biggest commission for them, someone who will actually show you other agents' listings and split the commission with another agent. It is a little windy today, so maybe it's gonna blow around here a little bit, but that's the first thing, getting an ethical real estate agent who's got some experience or is working for an office that has lots of experience, one or the other. Once you find the property that you like and you come to a mutually agreeable number with the seller, the next step is to do a temporary but binding contract that details everything for the property. Who's paying for what, the taxes, the transfers, the commission, how much the commission is, who receives the commission, if it's split between agencies, etc., etc. Closing dates, the amount of the deposit, you list who the attorneys are, the escrow agent. It's important, incredibly important, to have an attorney with an escrow account. If you don't have an attorney with an escrow account, there's no place to send the money to that you can trust. So that's a big issue. We've had a few sales go haywire because buyers wanted to save money and use an attorney who charged a little less, but it backfired on them and it made the whole closing process very difficult. The next process then, once you've got that attorney and you've got the contract, the first thing you do if you're buying a house is you have a property inspection. You want to, most of the contracts you put in it anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000 as the amount for the property inspection report. If it comes back with repairs over those amounts, then as the buyer, you have the right to either cancel the contract or renegotiate it. It depends upon the house. Some of the houses are major fixer-uppers. We know that going into it. So you set a high amount as the contingent part for the contract, like $10,000. If it's a brand new house and it really shouldn't have major problems, you can set a low amount of $2,000 for the property inspection report. So once the report comes back, if for any reason you're not happy, you want out of the contract, it's over the limit that you stated in the contract, you can cancel. Once that has been done, okay, or if you're only buying land, then the next step is to do the title search. The title search, you want to make sure you have a reputable lawyer, once again, who does a thorough search, because we don't have title insurance here in Nicaragua. But that's all title insurance companies do anyway. It's just a super thorough title search, and you pay them a lot of money for very little service. Most Canadians, they laugh when someone suggests title insurance. Most countries don't even have it. It's kind of more of a US thing than anything else from what I've seen over the years here. I've been here doing this 16 years, so I've seen and heard a lot of stuff. So they do the title search. With the attorneys that I recommend, you can guarantee that if they say the title's good, it's good. If they find any issues in the title, they will tell you exactly what they are, how they can be resolved, etc., etc. If you're not happy and you don't like it, you cancel the purchase at that point. You get your money back minus the attorney fees to date, which would basically be just the title search, which is usually $500. Then once the title's been approved by you, the next step is the Libre de Gravamen, which proves there's no liens on the property, the Savencia de Municipal, which proves the property taxes are paid and up to date, and a new survey. You have to have a new survey if it's more than 1 year old. Or if you have questions, did the neighbors maybe move the markers, and you just want to verify that, yeah, the lines are the lines, you can just get a surveyor come out just to verify for you if it's less than 1 year old. But if it's more than 1 year old, a new survey has to be done, and it has to be registered with the cadastral. They come out, they check the points, they check the measurements, they verify that everything is done properly. In the past here, before they had all the fancy equipment and GPS, it was kind of hard to get the surveys verified and make sure the size of land according to the survey matches the size in the escritura. If there's any discrepancies with that, there's usually ways of fixing it. But that also can be another reason why I say I would cancel. If there was a major discrepancy between the survey and what was in the escritura, you have the right to renegotiate, cancel, etc., etc. And all of those things tend to be done kind of at the same time. And then the final things they do is make sure there's no HOA fees pending if you're buying within a development. That's very, very important. You don't want to buy a property if the previous owner didn't pay their HOA fees for 10 years. So they also make sure that the electric bill's been paid, water bills have been paid and up to date. You don't want to buy a property with a renter's been living in it for 2.5 months and the electric company is ready to shut off the power for non-payment, and they've been running the AC full blast 24/7 with the patio doors open. So that's real important that you don't, get stuck with a huge electric bill from a previous owner also. So that's basically the buying process. Once all of that is done, then they have final closing. Let me back up. In the beginning, when you sign the contract, then you submit a 10% security deposit to your lawyer. He holds that money and that takes the property off of the market. So that's why you have to have a lawyer with an escrow account, so they can hold the money and take the property off of the market. So then when we're ready to close, you have a couple options. Sometimes sellers will like to get payment directly to them instead of you sending the final payment to Nicaragua and then the attorney sends the payment to the seller. Sometimes the sellers like for you to make the final payment directly to them, and the money here in escrow in Nicaragua is typically used to pay the taxes, pay the transfers, pay the real estate commissions, etc., etc. Or you can send all of the money, the balance due plus your closing costs, to your attorney, and then he divvies up everything to everybody. So, but sometimes buyers will send money directly to sellers, and you have your contract and everything to take to the bank to prove why you're getting this big lump sum in your account. And then another thing I want to back up a little bit is when you have your attorney and you selected your attorney, before you can even send your 10% security deposit, first you have to fill out, it's called a get to know your client form. It just basically proves you're not laundering money. So you need to have a couple years of tax returns, bank statements, stuff like that to prove where your money is coming from. If you don't have access to that digitally and you're coming to Nicaragua to buy, bring copies with you so that you can provide those to the attorney if you don't have access to all that information digitally. Once the attorney verifies you're not laundering drug money, then they'll give you their account information for you to send the security deposit and then the final payment. But basically, that's the steps to buying property here. In the 16 years I've been here, every now and then you run into something just super bizarre, but don't worry. If you have a good attorney, we can usually figure it out, make it work. Or if not, I'll tell you, don't buy this property. It's not a good property, don't buy it. It's very important for me, for my clients to sleep well at night, because if you're unhappy, you're gonna make me unhappy, and then I won't sleep well, and I like my sleep. Okay, I forgot two important things. Let me back up and add these in. When you come to Nicaragua, if you want to be able to transfer money to your attorney for the 10% security deposit and the final closing money, make sure you set it up with your bank ahead of time so you can wire transfer money while you're not in the country. A lot of banks will give you a hard time about wire transferring money from your account to Nicaragua if you're not there to do it. So make sure you set it up with somebody or with the bank, or you give power of attorney to somebody who can transfer money from your account to a Nicaraguan bank account if needed. And the other thing I forgot is if you're buying a house and it has a caretaker, it's also very, very important that the current owner of the house, or the previous owner, the person selling the house, cancels with their caretaker, pays them their severance pay, and you start fresh with that caretaker with a new contract. There's no obligation. You don't have to use the same caretaker that the previous owners were using, although a lot of times it's a good idea because they do know the house, they know how everything works, etc., etc. But it's important that that's done because the caretakers get a severance pay, so they get 1 month's salary for each year they worked for the owner of the house, up to, I think it's 6 or 7 years. Most people do 5 years, but I think it can go up to 6 or 7 years. So if you have the caretaker for 1 month and you decide you don't like them, it's just not working out, and you want to fire them, you don't want to be stuck paying their severance pay. So let the previous owner take care of that, and you start fresh with a brand new contract. Those are the things I missed. So here's your little talk from the hammock today on how to buy property in Nicaragua and the whole process. I love my life. Come join me.